Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Press Box. Brian Carson here. My co host, Kenny Varner, is absent tonight with a prior engagement, so we're going to fly solo here. And always special, we have the Hidlay brothers on, Hayden and Trent, and Joey Bender, even with that ugly Phillies hat. We're gonna talk about the Wrangle in the Wild, Part 3. It's here already, guys, and thank you for coming on. We appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad to be on here. Thanks for inviting all three of us on to talk a little Wrangle.
So, Hayden, are you home or are you in the Dakotas?
Yeah, so I'm in Fargo right now. I'm planning on getting back home to Lewistown on August 3rd, just in time for the Wrangle. So this was one of those things I said in my job interview that I had to make sure I held consistent with, and I wasn't going to be able to bump it. So luckily, my boss has really worked with me, and we've just been able to make some recruiting trips out of some of these events. But yeah, I'll be back for the Wrangle. I wouldn't miss it. It's one of those events in my schedule moving forward that I know I'm going to have to block out a few days for.
Is your dad going to broadcast with you again?
I don't think so. I think we're going to put my dad in charge of kind of the just lining up the Chief Logan guys and checking them in, and just he'll be more of I don't know, I guess the host of the evening, kind of hanging around doing his he can be a talker at events like this, so he'll really enjoy that.
So let's kick it right off. How is it a little bit? It's always stressful. I know that to like coordinate something, but this is year number 3. Is it getting a little bit easier for you guys? And you can all answer this on organizing this and getting it together.
Joey, you want to start?
Yeah, I think so. We have an idea, a layout at this point on how things are supposed to work. Um, the best part is obviously getting the guys, the lineup. Um, that's probably the hardest part as well. You don't know everyone's schedules and if they're around the area or not. But yeah, I think things are getting easier as the years go on, for sure.
Yeah, I think it's been interesting this year. Obviously, our first year, we kind of threw it all together in about a month. And then last year, we had a little more of a better framework with doing it at the high school. Now that we are able to do it at the high school again, we really have a better layout for what we're planning to do. The only thing that's a little different this year is the Chief Logan theme. So I think that's been the only kind of different thing, is trying to get as many people involved and getting some previous Chief Logan wrestlers. But it's been a blast getting to know them through the process, and Hayden and Joey and I have been kind of being consistent with what we've done years past. But that adds a new kind of fun wrinkle to it. But it's definitely a lot easier than year one doing it in 3.5 weeks. Yeah, it's been a blast the past few months.
Yeah, I think this year's been really smooth, and it's been difficult for me just with a lot of life changes and just making the move out to North Dakota. I haven't been, able to be as hands-on with the project as I had been the previous 2 years, but, Joey and Trent have really stepped up, and they've kind of carried me to this part of it all. And, we're all doing our specific things that we're great at. And I think we just kind of rely on each other. We all have different set of strengths, and I think we know them really well by now. And I think that's the reason why it's been a little bit easier this year is, especially after last year and moving to a bigger facility and just doing everything bigger and better. There was bound to be some areas of improvement. We did a really good job after last year evaluating where we can do better. And I think this year, just putting more details into it on the front end, it's made this process really smooth. Like Joey said, getting guys together is probably the hardest part, just because no matter what, there's going to be some people that will back out just with injuries or whatever, just other obligations. And so that can be difficult, but really at the end of the day, the people are just looking for a good entertainment and a good show. And, we've been able to find replacements pretty easy. So I think right now we're just looking for one guy. So that's actually really good. compared to the previous years. But now it's a well-oiled machine at this point, and we know what we want to happen, and we have as many details as we possibly can. There's going to be some things go awry, but I think we're well equipped to handle it.
Somebody's defending your hat, Joey.
Oh, that's fine. What's up, Graham?
Grandma's to the rescue. Grandma to the rescue.
Yeah.
So you talked about this being year 3. Has it and the popularity that's how it's grown? Has it been easier to get wrestlers for this to come and say, yeah, I want to be a part of it?
Yeah, I would say so. I think just if you can prove that you know how to put on an event and that you're serious about it, like obviously we're doing this for fun, but the 3 of us, consider ourselves professionals in what we want to do and what we want to accomplish. And I think showing, just the community that we're serious about it. And I think the wrestlers have very little to worry about other than just showing up and competing. And so if you can prove that, I think guys are more willing to do it. And them knowing that it's for a great cause. And we're very open and upfront about it with guys. Like, hey, like if you don't want to wrestle in it, like that won't hurt our feelings. But I know Trent, especially, he has, 0 repercussions about asking. Like he's just like, yeah, I'll ask whoever. I really don't care. And it's good to have somebody like that because he's able to pull in a ton of guys that I would have never even thought of, or I would have thought of been like, I don't know if they'd want to, but Trent, if you've been around the area and you like to wrestle, I'm sure he's probably asked you. And we try to make the schedules align as much as we can, but we know this is a big vacation season for people, and it's great. We get to see new faces, and asking around is part of the rush in it all.
Yeah, and Hayden hit the nail on the head. And like you said, I really have no problem asking just about anybody. If they say no, then they say no, and that's it. But it's been really cool, I think, for all of us to see people that we didn't expect to want to be involved, and when we ask them, and they're all in. So I think that's probably been the coolest part. Is like you have, we spent a lot of time looking at the old rosters for Lewistown, Indian Valley, Mifflin County, even Juniata, Mount Union. And then you come across someone's name, you're like, oh, that would be perfect. And then you text them and they're like, yeah, I'd love to help out. So it's been cool going through that experience a little bit. I think the one thing that's helped is since we've done this twice pretty successfully, we don't need to send out a full paragraph of what the event is anymore. We basically just say like, hey, wanted to see if you were interested in wrestling in Wrangle this summer. Here's the date. Let me know. And then they know what it is now. So it's a little easier to get people involved because they've seen that we can put on an event that's successful. And all 3 of us have been, I think, they'll all say it. We've been pretty blown away by how much it's grown. And anytime I come back to the county and I'm hanging with Joey or Hayden somewhere, people always come up to us like, can't wait for Wrangle. It's going to be great. And we're like, just wait. It's going to be awesome. So it's been cool.
What do you think, Joey? Are you surprised or not about how it's grown?
No, not at all. The first guys like Carras Tadero, who were this is his 3rd year in it. They kind of started us out. So them saying yes easily showed other guys that it's an easy yes. So I think it gets easier every year getting guys to come in.
The thing that I thought was pretty cool, I read it on your Facebook page. You're honoring like the Chief Logan Mingo wrestlers, and everybody's going to be wearing green and white. That is so cool. Tell me how that came about with you guys to decide to do that.
Yeah, so this was a pretty cool development. I think when we were looking, I had come back to Mifflin County and I met up with Joey at his house, and we were going through like kind of the plan for the year and what we wanted to look like. And the first year we did like red and green teams just because that was kind of standard with wrestling. Last year we liked the black and yellow theme just because we thought it looked sharp. And Joey was like, we should do like a Chief Logan theme. We should do green and white. And I was like, that would be awesome. And he was like, we should do, we could do Lewistown, we can do Indian Valley, we can do Penn Highlands, all these schools down the road, Kish. And then we started thinking we should actually get some of the Chief Logan guys involved, because they've been huge in this county, and they've had more state champs than any other school. And a lot of them are still active in the community and active in the wrestling community. So that's kind of how it all came about. And then at that point we were like, yeah, let's run with it. Let's not just do the green and white teams to honor Chief Logan. Let's actually get some of the old wrestlers involved in the event and honor them. And kind of get people that used to either go to Chief Logan or wrestle for Chief Logan a little excited about what we were doing.
Awesome. So how'd that come to your mind, Joey? Because trust me, I know you weren't born.
No.
You weren't around when Chief Logan was going at it.
No, but mainly I was just like, what colors do we want to do this year? Like Trent said, we did the black and yellow last year, and I was like, green and white, Mingos, Chief Logan. That's literally how it came about. It was as simple as that. I mentioned it to Trent. We called or text Hayden. He was like, yeah, let's go. So it was that simple on how I came up with it, or how we came up with it.
I think it's a great idea, honoring the past, because we have had really great wrestling in Mifflin County for a lot of years. A lot of guys, and I think that's pretty cool that you're going to go eventually down the line at all the schools and wear their colors. Do you know who offhand who's coming from the old Chief Logan days? Can you name some guys?
I absolutely can. So I reached out to we started out with the state qualifiers, state medalists, state champions from the group. And we tried to, text or call as many as we can. Right now, the ones that have said they'll be there, Dan Warner, Joe Heller, Lou Copenhaver, Joe Daubert, and those three were state champions for Chief Logan. Tim Knorr, Dirk Craig, Troy Hartsock, and Milt Thomas, who was a District 6 champ back in the day, as well as the assistant coach, Bob Torok, and possibly Ron Warrior. We're still waiting to hear from him. And some of the other guys, J.B. Kaufman and Randy Lote, are out of town that weekend, but we're definitely excited about the event. So it's been really cool to kind of communicate with those guys and realize how excited they were for the event. And I think it'll be cool for them. I think some of them may not see each other all that often. So it could be a cool little reunion of the old Chief Logan wrestlers. So that's been really sweet.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's pretty cool, because I've interviewed Joe Heller. He's a great guy. He's the one that got me into the sport, him and Kenny Weitzel. I used to go as a little punk and watch them, and that's what got me into it. But do you have I know you always we'll get to the fundraising and that, but do you have any primary objective, goal, or outcome you want to achieve with this year's event, Hayden?
It's all about fun. At the end of the day, we try to maximize the entertainment value while being very professional. I think we found a nice balance of, respecting the sport and giving people an opportunity to compete that haven't been able to compete, while at the same time running a professional event and knowing that these people coming in to wrestle, they're not training full time as like Trent and I would be, or we understand the limitations that are at play. So we really try to lean into letting them have fun and letting them have the spotlight. I think the first year that Trent and I competed, we really just wanted to start out with a bang and really, get people involved. And we believed that wrestling each other was the best way to do that. And now we can kind of sit back and watch the creation that Trent, Joey, and I have made and really make it about the community. I think we put together the best card in Wrangle history. I really do. The main event features matchups with guys that have NCAA tournament experience. And
yeah, we're going to go over them.
Yeah. What's that?
I said we're going to go over them
Yeah.
because, I mean, Matt Coker's a name I haven't heard in a while. That's pretty cool.
And that's what it's about. We want to give these people the opportunity because they're legends and they're people that Trent and I have looked up to in our career. And that's what the event's all about. That's our main objective, is to get these people out in front of the fans, give them an opportunity in the spotlight, and let them enjoy a sport that has provided us with so much. And if we can give any little bit back to the sport, by doing that, then I think we've accomplished our goal. So that's what we go into every time. We don't think about, hey, I mean, obviously the fundraising and the attendance is great because it gives us a way to give back to the community in a monetary amount, but really those are secondary goals behind putting on a great event. That's what it all comes down to, is let the youth and let these fans have them leave and they can tell people around town that we had a really great time. This is a community event that should be on everybody's calendar. That's what we're trying to do.
Joey, you have a fan club tonight, because here's let me get this here.
I got Joey.
Yeah,
Nice.
Tanner Laird, if I could hit the button right, is doing Joey.
Shout
So
out Tanner.
you got a fan club going.
Rock on.
Have you guys thought? About the influence that. Has that been part of Wrangle? Maybe to get kids, like seeing this and going, "Man, I want to wrestle." And have you thought about it in that aspect of what it's doing for the community to promote the sport, and maybe getting kids who might be on the fence to go out and give it a try?
Yeah, I think for sure. I think it's funny. I think the easiest matchups we put together are the youth matches. After the event, you have so many of these kids coming up like, hey, you got to get me next year. Every time we come back for a camp, hey, when's Wrangle? Can I get a match? It's like, that's the coolest thing. Like these kids get an opportunity to not only wrestle in front of their community, but they also get to wrestle with people that they grew up looking up to. And I said it the first year, like if I was a little kid and this event was going on, like, man, what I would do to be able to be on the card for that. Like, I think it's really special for the kids. And the parents have been great. Tony Osmond has been great helping me get some kids that are excited and that are the future of Mifflin County. And I know Joey gets a lot of texts and runs into people in Mifflin County like, hey, you got to get me in the card. Hey, my kid wants to wrestle. So, unfortunately, we can't do 15 youth matches, but we like to look at, some of the kids that enjoy the sport. They work really hard at a lot of the camps and clinics and stuff we do, and they're active in wrestling. So it's good to reward those kids with a chance to wrestle in front of the spotlight with some of their heroes. So that's a really special thing. And this year, we were able to get the first girls match.
I was going to bring that up.
That's really special. I know that was one of the priorities for us going into this year, was to try to help do our part and grow the women's wrestling in the state of Pennsylvania. I know it's recently been sanctioned and it's growing a lot. So any little bit that we can do to help maybe get some girls involved in the sport at a young age, and because this sport is for everybody. It's not just for men. It's not for people that are strong. It's for any body type, any person that wants to challenge themselves and grow and learn a lot of lessons. It's a perfect sport for them. So that's our, I guess, little way of help to grow the sport for women and get more girls involved in Mifflin County.
The other aspect of this is the fundraising you've done. Last year, I think it was over 4,000 for the booster club. I mean, how I know the answer, but that's got to be important to you guys too. The amount of money you're raising to help the booster club and promote the sport.
Yeah, I think it doesn't all fall on us too. Like, I think the community sponsorships are basically what free us up and allow us to be creative and getting people in the door. we try to break even before the event starts. And the only way we're able to do that is with our sponsorships. We have, I think, 15. Each match is sponsored by a business. And then we have our 2 team sponsors with Chesney Auctioneering and Smelton Allmiller Real Estate. With those sponsorships, and then we have some individual donations as well, that gets us pretty close to breaking even before the event starts. And then really whatever comes through the door in terms of ticket sales and raffle items that are sold, it all goes back to Mifflin County Wrestling. And we had no idea at the start of this what success would look like. And I remember at the start, we had these crazy kind of thoughts like, hey, what if like 50 people show up to this and we like have to go out of our own pocket to pay for it? And then when we saw people, it all went away, and we were confident the moment we went out to Body and Soul the first year and we saw people lining up outside the doors like 3 hours in advance of the event. And then I think we all took a deep breath and like, hey, like, let's just have fun because we know we're going to make money doing this. And where there was some times though, where like, man, what if this just completely flops? So the financial part of it all, like, I don't worry too much about it now because we have a lot of community support. But if it wasn't for them, then yeah, we'd be kind of gritting our teeth through it all. So I don't know if it's all on us being like these massive minds that are coming up with a ton of money. It's really the community that pitches in and helps out, because we really, for the most part, have to turn away those match sponsorships because it just fills up, every match. And we still love the people sending in individual donations, and most of the time they just remain anonymous and don't need the praise for it. But really it's on them because they allow us to run the event and get the event started. And then it's really just providing entertainment after that.
And Trent, you're having a live stream on your Rockfin site, right?
Yeah, it's worked out pretty well the last 2 years. We've been able to do a live stream for each match. We'll post the link out a bunch for people to sign up if you can't make it to the event. That's another great way. All the money that we make is going through Rockfin, goes back to the Booster Club as well. So that helps us out too. And it's been a little bit of a challenge for us to kind of test our waters in the commentating side of wrestling because we're so used to doing it. And the first year was just Hayden and I, and then when we started wrestling, my dad and Joey took over. And then last year we had some guest appearances on. So I think Hayden and I will probably man the commentating this year. We may have some special guests to help cover some matches, and that's a great way to get the event to grow as well. We've had a lot of help with the people within Rockfin to help us kind of spread the word a little bit. And Roger Hurto with Mifflin County TV he's kind of been our lifesaver with that, because you're looking at maybe Joey has a little bit of experience with some media stuff, but if you put the live stream in our hands, it would be a failure. So Roger Hurts has been huge for us, getting the stream up and running and putting on a good show for fans that can't make it. So the link will be posted a lot if people want to subscribe in and watch the event. That would be great.
And Joey, so some stuff about live streaming?
I know we had a hiccup at Body and Soul, and somehow I figured it out randomly. And I know I was working last year, and these guys called me. They were in at the high school the day before, and were like, "Hey, what did you do last year? We're running into the same issue." And I forgot at that point, but Roger was able to figure it out. So, I mean, I guess I have a little bit of experience, not too much.
Yeah, it's funny when we try to get into that, but I mean, if you see any of the stuff that's put out on Facebook or Twitter, Instagram, all of our graphics, all of our media is done solely by Joey. So, and like Hayden said, we try to be as professional as we can, and Joey's just totally knocked it out of the park with the stuff that he can put together on short notice. And keep in mind, Hayden and Joey are both working jobs, so it's like they're putting together this stuff on short notice. So we're really appreciative of what he can do. Maybe we'll try to keep him learning on the live stream so that he can take over.
So this is for all of you. is if there's one thing that you hope attendees and participants take away from Wrangle 3, what would it be?
I would just like them to tell their friends and keep growing it. I would love to reach that, like, of a couple years down the road, maybe have 1,000 people in the gym. I think that would be really cool. I think we got somewhere over right around the 600 mark of total people involved last year. And, like a secondary goal would to get like up to 700, 750 this year. If we could break like 1,000 people inside the doors of MCHS, I think that would be right in our sweet spot. Like, we know we're not going to be upgrading much bigger venues than the high school. I don't think we'd like to do that. I think that would take too much bandwidth from us and, take away from the event. But that's kind of the sweet spot that I would look for. And my dream is just people that go, they tell their friends, and, it's like one of those things that they make a weekend out of. Maybe if they're an hour or two away, maybe it's like, hey, let's go back to our hometown and watch these guys this weekend, just because it's fun. That's what I would like the event to turn into.
Trent?
Yeah, I think along similar lines, it's obviously important for us to get the community involved. And wrestling has been such a big part of all three of our lives, whether we've competed or been on teams. But a lot of the guys that we've had come through are people that we grew up watching, and that's been super cool. So I guess along the lines of, people telling their friends, I think for us to put on another event and have some of these high profile guys, I think the goal for me, and I know for these guys as well, to continue growing the event and to continue getting previous Mifflin County and surrounding area guys interested in wrestling, and kind of spreading the message of, this isn't a sport that you have to be done with when you finish in high school or college. Like, we want the opportunity for guys to put the shoes on, enjoy what they do, because whether you were a state qualifier or a regional qualifier or you wrestled in college, this sport is beneficial for everybody. And we want people to continue to benefit from it and enjoy doing it, and not be something where they look back and be like, I wish I could wrestle again with my friends. So I think that as a goal for me, I think just to continue getting some of the old wrestlers to want to be interested and maybe putting their body on the line a little bit for 4 minutes of wrestling. But after both years, we've had guys come up to us like, man, this has been great. I know I'll be really sore tomorrow, but it was awesome doing it again. So that's the goal for me.
How about you, Joey?
Just to be that community event that people can look forward to every year. I know there's not a lot of things going on in Mifflin County, so kind of offering this as an avenue for, like Hayden said, people can come and enjoy this for like a weekend or the day. Just get the community involved and have fun.
Awesome. I'm going to go over here. I hope you don't mind. I ripped off your graphics so we could talk about this.
No problem.
From your site, Facebook site. We'll start with the youth. We'll show the card here.
Mm-hmm.
Kylan Swineford, and if I screw up this name, I apologize. Patience Vidopija? But I don't know. I'm sorry. Brian Arndt and Brian Albert, Tanner Engel and Kane Lynch, and Levi Borman and Noah Stout. That is not Adam's kid, is it?
Sure is.
Oh my God, I'm getting old. Wow. How old's he?
Oh man,
6 or 7, maybe. Yeah. Not
Jeez.
old. They're the youngest match we have.
Yeah.
So talk about that youth card a second, because you did mention Kylan and Patience. That's the first Wrangle match with girls involved in it. And we know that girls wrestling is exploding in popularity all over the country, not just in Pennsylvania. So talk about the youth card, what your thoughts are on it.
Yeah, the youth card is really special this year, obviously, with the girls match, as well as Noah Stout and Adam Stout both wrestling in the card this year we'll have the first father-son duo matchup. So that I'm really excited for that. But these are, we'll have the two kind of youth matches, a middle school match, and then the girls match. So it's cool to be able to get some younger kids involved, and then kind of the future of what might be coming up through the high school program and the junior high. And like I said earlier, these kids are all the wrestlers that we see a lot during the summer and during the off season that put in a lot of work. And we work pretty closely with one of the coaches with Mifflin County Wrestling, and Tony Osmond, and he gives us a lot of good recommendations on what kids would be great for the event. And like I said, these kids they're the heart and soul of what this is all about. The future of Mifflin County, building up the community so these kids have something special to work with. So that's always my favorite part of the event, is seeing the kids involved, and they wrestle, they go back to the bench, and they're teammates with people that might have wrestled 20 years ago. That's pretty unique. And like for Noah Stout to wrestle with his dad, what other event could you do that with? So it's cool that we're able to do that, and I know they're looking forward to a special night.
Well, how do you guys, before we go into the undercard, how do you put the card together? How do you decide, these are the guys this is who we want to have on the card? How does that go about?
I would just say it's a mix. Like the people that reach out to us and really want to do it, like we find a way to make it happen. And we want to have a mix of those guys that are really eager and just want the opportunity. And then we also want to have a level of wrestling that's solid. And so the youth matches, like you might be like, it's pretty young people and lower level stuff. Really, at the end of the day, like compared to some of the wrestling match that happened, like it's high level stuff, because these kids are still competing and they're training and they're learning. And so they actually put together a pretty good product. And I think when it comes to putting the adults on the card, yeah, we want some star power, and we want the people that have done really well. Those are always a big priority. But then we do fill up the card with people that are just eager to wrestle and haven't had the opportunity to. And I think that's kind of what you'll see in the undercard, is some inexperience, but people that just have an itch for the sport. And so we give them that avenue. And then as the event kind of works further, and you get to the main event, that's when you start to see more of the people with more wrestling accolades and more experience.
How difficult is it? Because I'm sure if you do have to tell people, nah, we can't, we're filled up. Do you have you had to tell people now, sorry, we're filled up? And how do you make that decision that there's not enough room?
Yeah, we honestly haven't ran into that a whole lot. Mostly anyone that reaches out to us that says they're interested, like Hayden said, we'll find a way to get them a match. We are trying, since this is only the third year, we're trying to get as many new people in as we can. Obviously, there's some repeats of guys that maybe haven't lost yet, or guys that maybe lost a close match and want to get a chance back at it again. But for the most part, anyone that's interested, we've been able to figure it out. And then we kind of, once we get those guys in, we'll kind of reach out to some new people. And I think we've all been surprised at how willing people are to want to be in the event.
Well, Joey, you said you get a lot of text in that for people wanting to be in. Have you had to tell people, sorry, right, we're filled, or make that process of sorry, no?
No, not really. I'm in Mifflin County. These guys aren't. So if I'm out and about, it's mostly parents coming up to me, and we try to get. It's pretty easy to get new youth in it every year. So I haven't really had any issues with anybody. Everyone's usually understanding about that. And if we can't get them in this year, we'll try to get them in next year. It's one of those types of deals.
All right, let's look at this undercard. Austin Peck and Aiden Thorpe, Brooks Burdick and Caden Knaus, Jasper Auker and Hayden Crum, Tyler Feltman and Brandon Rolls, Battle of the Juniata Indians. And then we got the old men, Adam Stout and Scott Hayes.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
unfortunately, Brandon Rolls isn't going to be able to wrestle, and so we're trying to fill up a
Oh,
replacement. He had a bad knee, and thought it would be healthy by now, but we'd rather not have somebody hurt themselves in the event. So it was a good idea to sit out a year and try for next year. So we're in the process of finding another opponent for Feltman, but. Yeah, like I said earlier, that the undercard is really just it starts out with some people that don't have a ton of experience, but just want to compete. And then it works your way up to Stout and Scott Hayes is a match that very well should be on the main event, but we wanted to kind of end the undercard with the firepower and then lead into the main event. And so those are both two guys that have a lot of great wrestling experience. And, Stout was a coach for Trent and I, and, I personally just, I think he's a great guy, and to have him in the event is really cool. And Scott Hayes has PIAA wrestling experience and still trains, and just, there's not a lot of opportunities for guys like him that just want to compete. And I think that's going to be a great matchup, old Lewistown IV rivalry.
you bet.
Yeah, I guess going up through the bottom, both Austin and Aiden were pretty green, I think, throughout high school, but are both still local in the area. And Austin Peck actually reached out to me and was wondering if there's any wrestling opportunities. And I said we absolutely do. So he's been really excited since the start. Hayden Crum, Caden Canals, and Scott Hayes have all won a match at Wrangle in the past. Crum won a match in the first Wrangle. So I know he was really excited to get invited back this year against Jasper Ocker, who wrestled a while back, and is excited to get back into the sport this year. But yeah, it's a little mix of some guys that have wrestled in the past 2 years in the event, and then some new guys. So it's going to be, like Hayden said, the undercard's a little more unpredictable, just because it's hard to kind of predict what will transpire in a match or who will have the upper hand. But everyone has had a lot of fun, and we've enjoyed having these guys a part of it.
And then the main event card, brothers. I mean, you two know about that. You and Hayden, you and Trent wrestling, and now we got Josh and Jake Boozle. Mount Union battle, Nick Wilcox and Taylor Smith. Cross Tadero, I haven't heard that name in a little bit, and Blaine Davis. Bryce Beatty and Hunter Johnson. That should be a good one. They're two that just got out of it not long ago. Nick Reenan and Jacob Ferreira. Is Reenan at North Carolina State or no?
He graduated the same year as Hayden.
Okay. And then Noah Stewart and Matt Coker. And that thing should be a barn burner, I think.
I know Joey's looking forward to Cross and Blaine. We'll have him go into that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cross is 2-0 in the Wrangle, so it's time to challenge him. I guess a little bit more with Blaine Davis. I think it's going to be a great match.
Well, Cross is still a big guy, I assume.
I'll tell you what.
He's a fairly sizable creature.
I'm interested to see if Cross can fit into the AC/DC singlet again. I guess we'll find out.
But, Blaine's unpredictable, too. He can do some weird, funky stuff.
Yeah, he's coming off a big Wrangle 2 win. So
yeah, it's a good matchup because I think Blaine's got a clear upper hand in wrestling technical skill, and Cross has the upper hand in physical strength. But I mean, that's what wrestling's for. It's all matchup, and I think it's a great match on the card. Both of those guys are undefeated in the Wrangle, and we don't have any reason to keep you off the card if you come out and win and put on a good show. And so that's kind of where we're at with those guys.
Right, and the Boozles, you got to love brothers going at it. You guys have gone at it. They've gone at it how many times in their life, and here we are again in front of a big crowd.
Yeah, I'm really excited for the Boozles. Josh Boozle, one of the few state champs on our cards for Mount Union a few years back. So, and him and Jake have both medaled at the PIAA state championship. So obviously very, very talented, very a lot of accolades. And anytime you have brother on brother, it's going to be a fun scrap. I'll be interested to see how Josh Boozle reacts to when he walks out. When I texted Jake Boozle, he said, "I'll do it if I can pick Josh's walkout song." So I'm not going to reveal what it is. I'm not going to reveal what it is, but I think Josh will have a good laugh when he comes out to it.
And then Noah Stewart and Coker's a little bit older, but oh my, what an excellent wrestler at State College, and I think Virginia, right? Was it Pittsburgh? Okay.
Yes.
And I don't know why Virginia was in my head, but solid wrestler, and Noah, that was your teammate.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a good one. That's going to be a really good one.
Yeah, I think, like I said earlier, and I this is the best main event card we've ever put together. I think Matt Coker brings in probably the highest pedigree of somebody that we've had in the Wrangle. NCAA All-American. People don't realize how hard that is to do, and he did it. He's the second most winningest wrestler in Pittsburgh wrestling history, and we've got him wrestling in Mifflin County Gym. I think that's worth coming alone, is just to see somebody of that pedigree. And yeah, he is a bit older, but he's been teaching wrestling probably for the past 15 years or so, since he's been done competing. And he's got a very high level knowledge of the sport. And I think he's going to rely on that. I think Stewart, obviously a little bit younger, just finished up his career at West Point a few years ago. And he's just kind of a matchup problem. Like, he's just long and lanky and really good in the top position.
You bet.
Pretty unorthodox. And so I think it's just a great matchup. Maybe Coker has a little bit of the edge in how far he's made it in the sport. But, Noah Stewart is, in my opinion, one of the top 10 wrestlers ever come out of Mifflin County. And so to have him in the gym, it was important to us to eventually get him on the card. And we're really happy it's this year.
Yeah, I agree with that, Hayden. He kind of flies under the radar, but as far as one of the all-time greats in Mifflin County, yeah, I would agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
I think Joey may have to hop off here soon. I was going to have him give his closing thoughts or anything else he needed to say before he heads off.
Okay, Joey, closing thoughts?
Yeah, like we stated before, this is probably our best card. Main event's great. Undercard, don't know what to expect, and first female match. So a lot of new things to look forward to for Wrangle 3. August 5th, 5 p.m. Let's pack the gym, and thanks for having me on.
Thank you, Joey.
See you guys.
Appreciate it.
So going back to the main event, I guess we'll go over some of the other matches. We covered the Boozle brothers, obviously representing Mount Union. I think the fans they may not know what they're getting out of the Nick Wilcox Taylor Smith match. So Taylor Smith graduated from Juniata this past year, had a great career there, and is going to be wrestling at Washington and Jefferson next year in college. And Nick Wilcox was an NCAA qualifier for Bloomsburg a few years back, and a 3-time state champion from New York. So he's very accomplished. And I was going back through the bracket of NCAAs, and he did lost some tight matches against some of the best guys in that weight class. So you're getting the best of the best with Nick Wilcox, and he's local in the area now, and it was looking to get involved with Mifflin County Wrestling. And this was a great way to kind of get him to be introduced to some people in the county, some coaches, some wrestlers. And I know he has a lot of passion for the sport and is excited to lace up the shoes and compete again. So that match is going to be really special.
And we know about him. He was Wyoming Seminary, right? In high school.
Yeah, so Nick Green and I came into college at NC State together. We were a part of the #1 recruiting class at NC State. Uh, Nick is originally from Texas, went to Wyoming Seminary in high school, was the #1 wrestler at his weight after he graduated high school, was a top 5 overall recruit. And
undercard.
yeah, so
Sorry.
Nick and I have been teammates. We're teammates at NC State for a while, and he finished up his career, and he works an environmental science job now, but just he still loves the sport, wanted to get involved, and he is by far one of the higher level wrestlers that we could have found. This is a guy that is not that far removed from wrestling David Taylor for a world team spot. Like he was in Final X State College, and he finished second at the senior level. And that's really impressive. And so it's good to have him back in the sport. And he's wrestling another guy that spent some time at NC State with us. A good friend of ours, Jacob Ferreira, finished his career at Hofstra and was a NCAA qualifier there. And it's a great matchup. And people around town might not know who these two guys are, but all it takes is just a little bit of research to be like, wow, these guys are seriously good. And to get them into the MCHS gym, they might not have the most recognition, but we've got a ton of our buddies from NC State that are going to be in attendance there, and they're going to be screaming their heads off for the match.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that when I looked at your main event on your Facebook page. I said the same thing. I was like, my God, this is really good. These are some top quality wrestlers you guys got coming in this year. Not that you didn't have before, but I mean, you're like you said, you're getting the Renans and Cokers and people like that. And we got one more to talk about, and that was two guys that have just got out of high school, Bryce Beatty of Mount Union and Hunter Johnson, Mifflin County. Everybody around here knows what Hunter did this past season, taking third in the state, finally healthy. And Bryce Beatty was a multiple state qualifier. So you got a good one there. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that one's pretty exciting for me. Like you said, two guys that have recently been out of high school. Bryce actually wrestles for Millersville right now, so he's a collegiate wrestler. And I think even in the first Wrangle, he had messaged me and said, I want in this. And last year we couldn't find a match for him, but right after the event, he messaged me again and said, I got to be in for next year. So he was definitely on our list of guys that we need to get a match. And just so happened it would work perfectly with Hunter's weight. And like you said, he had a great PIAA tournament and finishing third place, which is a really special accomplishment and not easy to do. So we're really excited to have Hunter be involved in another match in his home gym. And I think a lot of people will be excited to see him and hopefully get some Mountain Union fans to come in and watch the Boozles and Bryce. But that's a high level matchup. Two college wrestlers with Hunter going to Edinburgh next year, I think will be really special to have in the main card.
Yeah, and I think that it's important for us to stay true to kind of what our values are and getting the best Mifflin County wrestlers possible out there. And, as the years go on, we got to branch out a little bit. And, we had Renan and Ferrer on the card as we don't want to do too many of those matchups because, it kind of takes away from the local feel. But I think it's really important to honor the Mifflin County guys that do well. It's a little bit hard for me with the position that I'm in and my job to have high school kids wrestle in the event just because I'm a college coach and it would be considered, some of the stuff I wouldn't be allowed to do just because it falls in the recruiting line. So getting a guy like Hunter Johnson that's out of high school now and is wrestling at the college level, it's a perfect opportunity to have him in the event and get to honor, the best Mifflin County wrestlers that have come out of the program. And if you're bringing home a state medalist, you know what you're doing. It's a high level of wrestling and we want you involved.
Now, I know you guys don't have an arrogant bone in your body. I've interviewed you and talked to you guys since you've been little, but do you like? I'm trying to ask this question in the right way. The hell, do you think part of the growth of the Wrangle is because of what you guys have accomplished in high school and college? Because I've told this to you privately, and I'll say it publicly. We will have good wrestlers come out of Mifflin County. There's no doubt about that. But two brothers to do what you did, I don't know if I'll ever see that in my lifetime again. And do you think that in your way, what you've done, the growth in Mifflin County wrestling and the Wrangle here is through what you've accomplished?
I think, well, thanks, Brian. I think that's something that we both really appreciate. And our goal as we continue on in our careers and within this sport is to continue building Mifflin County wrestling and to, build those next wrestlers to outdo what we've done. We've been able to win a state championships with Mifflin County and do well in college and be all Americans. We're looking to do our part in helping Mifflin County grow to where we have kids coming up through the program that are able to outdo our accomplishments. And that's important for us to give back and to help the county improve. I do think, obviously with the age of social media and kind of being in the prime of our careers, it's been a little easier for us to spread the word on what we were doing. And with us wrestling the first year, I think that helped kind of get people's eyes on it. And now at this point, it's taken a life of its own, and we're just trying to foster that the best we can. But we have followed the script of what some of the previous guys before have done for us in the county. And to get guys like that to wrestle in has been really surreal for us.
Yeah, I'll finish out with this. I've got to head home here. But yeah, this is much bigger than us at this point. When we put it together, we had no idea what exactly it was going to turn into. And, the fact that people, take a lot of pride in and they really enjoy it, that means the world to us. And a lot of these things that have come from it have made us better people and better professionals. We're event organizers and, we didn't even really know what we were doing at first. And we've learned so much from it. So really I don't look at it as, this event, is about us. We run it and it's our idea and, we try to make the most eyes come to watch it and we try to bring the most exposure to it. But I don't like to think that, like it wouldn't continue if we didn't do it. Like, I think there'd be plenty of people that would still want to take it up, and it's made us proud that we're able to make it our own and do it. But, it means a lot that people support it. I think that people look at us and, are proud of what we've been able to accomplish. And then they support us in return with this event. So it's a two-way street, and we for sure want to continue to do it, for as long as we possibly can. And we want to do our best to honor wrestlers, kind of like the Chief Logan guys that are going to be there next weekend. That's something that maybe we could have done from the start, but we're learning and want to make it a community event more each and every year. And that's what it's all about. It's, it shouldn't be about us. I think that's an important thing. We're involved in it and we're the kind of the faces of it. But it's about the people that take the mat. I hope that's what people take away from it. But thanks, Brian. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you, Hayden. And get ready for North Dakota winners.
You bet.
Trent, one more question, buddy. I know you're probably busy too. Do you think this event, the way it's growing, Wrangle 3, How do you think it contributes to the wrestling landscape, not just in Mifflin County, but even across the state, getting the kind of people like Renan and Coker and that you're getting now?
Yeah, I think it definitely helps. Bring eyes onto an event like this, but in wrestling in general, and allowing people to have more avenues to wrestling other than just youth, high school, and college. Because getting to the college level is an extremely hard thing to do, and some people don't get to experience that because it's such a difficult sport to master. But that doesn't mean they're not passionate about it. That doesn't mean that they're not invested into the sport. You see there's men's softball leagues, there's pickup basketball, football, intramural programs, but there's really not that many avenues for wrestling post competition. So that's what we hope to continue to build on, not just locally, but across the state, across the country. I think you're seeing a lot of new developments in wrestling opportunities for people that have been out of the sport. I know there's the Stalemates people put on a street league. I think they're on their fourth one, which is actually going to happen after ours on August 5th. And they get some pretty high profile wrestlers to continue doing it. Because at the end of the day, wrestling's for everybody. It's for if you spent time in wrestling, you know how much it means to you to go out by yourself and step on the line and compete, for yourself. And it's a unique sport that we want people to be able to continue to enjoy after their career is over. So it's been cool, and I think as we continue to grow this and we get some of these guys involved, that it'll draw more eyes to the event, and it'll draw more attention to more opportunities for wrestling post high school or college.
Awesome. And I got a question. I got you, so I got to ask.
Yeah,
How's it feel now? How's it feel now? You don't have to cut weight. You're going to be 197.
It feels good. This summer has been fun. I've been doing a lot of lifting and trying to get as healthy as I can. Unfortunately, I had some injuries after the season that I've been working through. So just trying to get as healthy as I can, and it helps not having to do a lot of running to keep my weight down. There's been, I'm extremely lucky to have one more year to compete with NC State going into my 6th year and finish up my MBA. So I'm really grateful for the year that I have coming up, and I wanted to make sure that if I'm going to do it, I want to try to get as good at wrestling that I can. And I think going up to 197 will allow me to have more energy, a little more explosiveness and strength that I can, just focus on getting better at wrestling and peaking at the right time. There's been, Brooks at Penn State has been basically the one guy that I haven't been able to beat. And him going up to 197 was a big part of my decision to go up as well and challenge myself to get better. So I'm looking forward for that challenge. And I know there's a lot of other really good guys at that weight. So I'm looking forward to the challenge of wrestling some new guys. But the goal remains to win a national title. And for me to be at my absolute best and to get better at wrestling, I think it required me, spending some more time being healthy, feeling good, and working on some technique to improve my game. So it's definitely a lot nicer being able to eat and drink what I need to operate at my best.
And do you have any interest, like Hayden, to get into coaching afterwards?
I don't know. We'll see. I'll finish up this year, and then I'd like to continue to compete on the senior level with an RTC, hopefully with NC State, and continue my dreams of winning world and Olympic gold. So that's my overall goal. Olympic gold is the highest pinnacle you can get. So I'm hungry for that. I want to continue to train for that. So that's what I'd like to do. And if I find my way into coaching at some point, I'm sure that would be interesting too.
Nice. Go for the gold. I like that. The Wrangle, it is 5:00, August 5th. You can watch it on your Rockfin, Trent Hidlay page on a live stream.
Yeah.
Any final words on the Wrangle?
No, I would just say I think the doors will open at 4 p.m. at the high school. We're not doing pre-sale tickets this year because it was a bit of a mess last year. That was one of the things we learned. So there'll be plenty of space. We encourage people to get there early. The doors will open at 4. Come in. We'll have raffles. Hopefully some Chief Logan merchandise that people can look at and and kind of remember some old times. But like I said, we'll have raffle items. The concession stand will be open, being run by the Booster Club. And then we'll have the Chief Logan guys there, and we'll honor them at 5 o'clock sharp. And then we'll get the wrestling going after that. So get there early, get there when the doors open. Tell your friends, bring your family. All the ticket proceeds, all the raffle proceeds, concession stand, the Rockfin subscribers, it all goes to the Mifflin County Wrestling Booster Club and helping them, raise money to improve their program, and to keep making improvements in the county. So I'm really excited for it. I know Joey and Hayden have put in a ton of work. We're really excited to continue this tradition. And our sponsors have been great. Like Hayden said earlier, they give us the opportunity to help this grow. So, Smeltson on Miller Real Estate, Chesney Auctioneering, they're the team sponsors. And then we'll have 15 match sponsors, as well as individual donations that have been given to us that have been huge. So keep a lookout. We'll have a lot of information on our Facebook page, Wrangle in the Wild, or Twitter or Instagram, whatever you follow. We'll be posting the link for the Rockfin to get subscribed. And not only for that event, but it also gives you access to all of my premium wrestling content on there as well. So there's cool articles. You can watch the previous year Wrangles. All the matches are on there. Hayden and I's match is on there if you're interested in that. So there's a lot of good content on there that you get for the subscription. But yeah, August 5th, 5 p.m. Doors open at 4, Mifflin County High School. We want as many people to be there as possible.
Awesome. Thank you for coming on, Trent. I appreciate it. You and Hayden and Joey. And good luck on the Wrangle and on the season this year coming up.
Awesome. Thank you. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out. We're an open book. Facebook, individual messages. Feel free to reach out with questions and we'll get you situated.
Sounds good. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thanks, Brian. Have a good one.
Yep, you too. Take care.
Yeah.
That was Trent Hidlay, Hayden Hidlay, and Joey Bender talking about Wrangle in the Wild 3. If you can get there, please go. Great card, great wrestling, and great individuals, the 3 we had on. You like doing shows like this. They've always been great interviews, and they still are. All right. No Kenny Varner tonight, so we don't have any shout-outs per se. So no theme music tonight is Feeding the Ducks. That'll be it for me. I would like to thank everybody for listening, tuning in. I'd like to thank Hayden and Trent Hidlay and Joey Bender. Wrangle in the Wild, August 5th, 5 o'clock. Like Trent said, doors open at 4. Thank you for listening, everybody. We'll be back next week with the Press Box. Take care. Have a great rest of your week and an even better weekend. Talk to you later.